Okay, now we're going to look at solving equations that have multiple steps. So as we've gone along with these few videos, our equations have got more and more complicated. But I'm just going to emphasize again that no matter how complicated the equation is, we're still going to do the same steps. We're still going to look for what order the operations are happening, and then reversing the order and then using the inverse operation. So we'll start with the equation x plus 3 divided by 2 plus 7 is equal to 12. So this looks quite complicated. Okay, we've got 1, 2, 3 operations in this equation that we have to reverse to find the value of x. Now, we've still got to do it in the reverse order. So I'm going to do a flow chart here just to show you what's happening to our variable in this equation. So first of all, if we start with x, then we get to x plus 3. As we read it out, we've got x plus 3 divided by 2 plus 7 equals 12. So we're going to keep putting our different operations in order. So we went from x to x plus 3, then we've got x plus 3 all divided by 2, and then we end up with x plus 3 all divided by 2 plus 7. Okay, so to get from here to here, we added 3. To get from here to here, we divided by 2. And then to get from here to this step, we added 7. So to go in the reverse order, we're going to go to get from here to here, the opposite of adding 7 is taking away 7. Then from here to here, the opposite of dividing by 2, multiplying by 2. Then from here to here, the opposite of adding 3 is taking away 3. So these steps here that are in our this bottom row here, are the opposite operations we've got to do. We've got to do them from right to left, because remember we have to do them in the reverse order that they were happening. So to solve our equation, I'm going to rewrite it down below. So we had x plus 3 over 2 plus 7 is equal to 12. The first thing we've got to do is take 7 from both sides, which leaves us with x plus 3 divided by 2, and 12 minus 7 is 5. Okay. So that's our first step done. We've removed this 7. We're going to cancel out the divided by 2 by multiplying all of this by 2. We multiply this side by 2. Now when we've got this whole expression here divided by 2, we can think of it as having brackets. Okay, so this is all one term here. When it's all divided by 2, the x plus 3 is all divided by 2. When we multiply the 2 out, so when we multiply this side by 2, the 2's cancel out, which will just leave us with the x plus 3. Okay. If we've multiplied 5 by 2, we've got 10. And the last step is to take away the 3 from both sides to leave us with x is equal to 7. Okay. So some of you might find it helpful to do this flow chart that I did at the top to work out what operations I need to do. Some of you might not need it at all, and that's fine. So we'll do another example. 4 minus 2x all divided by 3 minus 5 equals to 5. Okay. So first step is we want to cancel out this minus 5. The opposite of taking 5 is adding 5. So we add 5 to both sides, which leaves us with 4 minus 2x all over 3 is equal to 10. 5 plus 5 is 10. The next step is to cancel out this divided by 3. Remember, we can put brackets over this top part of our division, our numerator. So if we multiply this side by 3, multiply this side by 3, we've got to do both. I'll do the same operation to each side to keep our equation equal. Multiplying this side by 3 cancels out the 3, leaves us with 4 minus 2x is equal to 10 times 3 is 30. So next, we're going to cancel out this 4 here. Now we haven't actually come across a equation before when we've got the constant out the front. Okay, so it's no different. We still treat it the same way. We still want to keep the variable on this left-hand side to find out what it equals. But we've got to remember this is a positive 4 here when it's out the front. There's no negative sign, so this here is positive 4. So the opposite of, or to get rid of a positive 4, we take 4. I'm going to take 4 from both sides. So that'll leave us with negative 2x. And it's really important not to lose the negative here. This part here doesn't change when we take away the 4. Okay, so we've got to keep the negative in next, keep the negative through the next step. So 30 minus 4 is 26. Now the last step will be to cancel out this negative 2. So not the 2 on its own. We're going to cancel out the negative and the 2 all in one step. And to do that, the opposite of multiplying by negative 2 is to divide by negative 2. We divide this side by negative 2, which cancels itself out, leaving us with x. And 26 divided by negative 2 would be negative 13. Okay, so a positive number divided by a negative becomes negative. Okay, so we've got x is equal to negative 13. Now there's, look, 1, 2, 3 steps in this to solve this equation, but we haven't done anything new. We're still just following the same processes we have that we did with one-step equations. We just had to do it more often. And so as you practice solving equations, this will just get easier and easier because you're just repeating the same steps over and over again. How about we do one more example? What about this one? 5 multiplied by 2a minus 9, all inside brackets, is equal to 13. So the first things first is when we see a set of brackets, we can do two things. We can multiply or expand the brackets like we did in our algebra topic, where we multiplied the 5 by each part or each term inside the bracket to cancel out our 5. Okay, so we can do that, or because the 5's out the front, technically it's multiplied. We know it's multiplied by everything inside the bracket, so we can divide by 5 on both sides. Okay. Now when we do this by dividing by 5, we're going to get a decimal, or we're going to have fractions to deal with. So unless we had a nice number here, a number on the right hand side that you could evenly divide 5 into, say if it was 15, then we would get a nice whole number there. That is a perfectly good option to do. But because we're going to get a fraction or a decimal, we're going to avoid doing that, okay? Because we don't want to have to work with fractions. So we're going to stick with the expanding method for now. So to expand the brackets, 5 times 2a gives us 10a. 5 times negative 9 is negative 45. And it's still all equal to 13. So we haven't done anything to both sides. We haven't done any inverse operations. We've just so far simplified the left-hand side of our equation by expanding the bracket. Now we can go through and do our inverse operations the same as we would have done to any other equation. So the opposite of minusing 45 is adding 45. So we're going to add 45 to this side, add 45 to this side, leaving us with 10a is equal to, now 13 plus 45 is 58. So the next step we've got to do is we've got 10 times a is equal to 58. So we're going to divide by 10, divide by 10. So a is equal to 58 divided by 10. Now this answer is correct, but it's not the simplest fraction we could have. So we could find common factors. So common factor between 10 and 58 would be 2. So 10 divided by 2 is 5. 58 divided by 2 is 29. So there is our simplest answer for A. Now yes, it has a fraction, but sometimes you will get fractional answers, and that's okay. Just keep them in the fraction and make sure you simplify your fractions. Don't leave it in this form. Try to get it into the smallest fraction possible, and you know your calculator can do that for you.